Okay, today we're looking at producing a polytile print based on food items, everyday objects, which we're going to be using from our culture, but here we're looking at pop artists as a starting point in terms of looking at popular culture, popular food in America in the 50s. I've got Wayne Theobald image here of Mickey Mouse on a cake, pie. That's one of the images that you can be using, got middle of the range image to create three-dimensional form. What I'm going to do is look at that, but also look at the Roy Lichtenstein mustard and white. I'm using this one essentially, but both of those are kind of reasonable for middle of the road students, and I do believe that this one has got great graphic effects here. What we're trying to do is actually create three-dimensional depth. So what I've actually done is trace that image out here onto the polytile, as you can see, just beam in, and on both sides of the tracing paper I've applied pencil. So if you look and flip this up, there's pencil on that side, which essentially, when you draw down here with the biro, pencil on the underside will produce some marks on the polytile. So you need to put pencil on the underside, otherwise there's nothing to press down on, it won't come through. So you can see, we take away the tracing paper at the moment, you can see the indentations have actually come through. Now what we're going to do is use those, in a sense we'll beam right in here, and what I'm going to do is actually draw through with a biro on those marks. They're quite light, but they're good enough to see through. You can see here, looking at the knife pushing through on the edge here of the toast. And essentially we're going to add some contour lines on the edge here. I'm doing this in the lesson to create three-dimensional depth. We don't want these tiles to be flat. We want a polytile print on a 2D surface to retain three-dimensional depth, which will allow us to understand three-dimensional form in order for us to create a 3D tile. We're not creating a 2D tile, we're creating a three-dimensional sculpture. It's good to know how to create that effect. Let's beam in there with the actual tile itself. So I've just beamed out slightly there. You can see again, I'm creating the drawing, and essentially what I need to do is to make the contour lines sustainable. So what I could do here is beam across, creating more 3D lines, going around the edge here of the plate. Essentially creating more ridges here, like so, and across. Now once I've established the marks and the contour lines, which have been done in practice during previous lessons on food items, we'll begin to look at this knife and toast and mustard in a different form. We'll begin to look at it as though the actual tile has got three-dimensional depth. Now I want to beam in a little bit closer again. Let's go in just to look at producing ridges which will not take the ink. So a sharp pencil needed. We go in here, and I do a few dots on here together and just join them. You can see dot 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 dot, and score. Now essentially what's happening is that we're creating tram lines which will not take the ink here. There's another way some students just actually score straight through. It's a little bit kind of more crude in a sense. I prefer to produce dots which will make the line easier to be formed, as you can see here, because they're already creating grooves for the pencil to follow. You can see there. Now I might try actually here and beam in further. You can see there the lines are not necessarily too deep. About a third of the way essentially is a right amount. Any more than that, you're going to get the tile becoming weaker the more you print, because obviously if you press too deep, it's going to weaken the actual overall framework. So a third is enough, even less if you wish, because you can always go back to the polytile after you've printed and washed it off and dig slightly deeper, not the other way around. So as you can see here, what we've got essentially is the grooves been created in preparation for the printing process, and the three-dimensional form established, which is very, very important because we want this tile, as I said before, to be three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface. Okay, that's the end of the demo.